For the first step of making our accordion books, we need to cover our pieces of board with some decorative paper. So what I'm gonna do first is I am going to flip my paper over to the back, and then I wanna put my board kind of in the middle. So I've got about 1 inch all the way around. It doesn't have to be exact, but you want it to be like kind of the space from your fingertip a little bit past that first knuckle. Once I have it centered, I am going to lightly, you don't need to press down hard, lightly gonna trace around that rectangle so that I know where to put the glue a little bit later on. So I've got my rectangle traced, and then I need to cut a line right here to make it even. With my ruler, I'm gonna just put my ruler right next to this edge of that rectangle that I drew, and then all the way from the bottom to the top, I'm gonna draw a line. And so now I've got a nice even space, and I just need to cut this little part off. So you're not gonna cut the rectangle out. That is very important. You just wanna cut off this one long line on the edge and save this paper because you're gonna need it later when we start gluing. Now that I have this part done, I am ready to get a glue stick and put glue inside my rectangle. And I'm not gonna spin my glue stick really far up because obviously it's gonna break and become a big mess. But I also do want to be really generous with the glue. So I'm kind of creating an outline, and then I'm getting glue all over this space. And if I start to run out, I just need to spin it up a little bit, twirl it up, and then get glue in the rest of this space. Then I'm gonna go back to my board that I traced at the beginning, and I'm just gonna line that board up with the rectangle line I drew. I'm gonna flip it over, and very gently, you don't wanna press down hard or like smooth it out really hard because then it could tear because the glue is a little bit wet. I'm just smoothing it out so that it's nice and even. If you use this part of your hands, that's a good way to get a nice, even smooth. All right, now that I'm done with that step, I need to cut little squares out of the corners. And let me show you how I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna take my ruler and put it right up next to the board. And then from the corner of the board to the edge of the paper, I'm gonna draw a line. Corner to the edge, draw a line. Do that on both sides. Corner of the board to the edge, corner of the board to the edge. And then we need to flip it around and do it the other way too. So I've got my ruler right here, corner to the edge, and then again on the other side. After you've done that all the way around, you're gonna use a pair of scissors to just cut out these little tiny squares. And I like to kind of line up my scissors so they kind of end right where the line would end, and then I just do one little cut, line it up, and one little cut. So I'm gonna do that all the way around for all three. All right, I've got all 4 of the corners cut out. So when I flip it over, that's what it looks like. And now I'm gonna use that scrap of paper that I cut off the other end. I'm gonna just slide it underneath my tabs. We'll call these tabs. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my glue stick right up to the edge of the cardboard, kind of angle it so you get glue right up to the edge, and then carefully kind of push glue out. That's a good way to make sure it doesn't tear, or just go really slowly and pull it down, okay? Then I'm gonna pull it off of my glue paper and just fold. I'm using my fingers to fold the edge first, like that. I'm making sure the glue is sticking to the edge of the board first, and then I'm wrapping it around and smoothing it out on this side. And then I would just repeat that on all of the other tabs. I'll show you one more time. You wanna make sure that your glue isn't up too much, just a little bit. Kind of angle it so you get glue right inside that line, right inside the crease, and then very carefully get glue all over the edges. And if you have any like chunks of glue like that, just kind of smooth it out with your glue stick. You want it to be nice and smooth. And then you just pull it off of the glue paper. The first thing I'm gonna do is fold it up so that the glue is touching the edge of the board, nice and tight. And then once we've got a nice fold there, then I can fold it around the other side and just very gently smooth it out. And then I would repeat that step all the way around. Once you're done with one board and you've wrapped your tabs of paper all the way around the back, this is ready to dry. I'm gonna repeat the same process with my second cover. So for this board, I could use the same paper if I wanted my back and my front covers to match, or I could repeat the same process with a different color of paper. So for mine, I'm gonna have this be my back cover. And if you need a reminder about how to do all the steps again a second time, you can go ahead and just rewind back to the beginning of the video and watch and do the steps again with me as I go through this cover. You're just gonna repeat the exact same thing right here. Once you've got both of your covers, front and back, wrapped and glued together and all the paper smoothed out, you're gonna take a pencil and write your name on the inside, right in the middle. Eventually this is gonna get covered up when we add the papers inside, but just so that we can keep track of whose cover is whose, make sure you've got your name in the middle of both of the inside parts of your covers.